It is August 9th. Never have I ever, in my farming career, started haying so late. The little bit of hay we cut at the beginning of July was just for a neighbor and a friend. This is complete bonkers. We're doing it. Surprisingly, the hay looks pretty good. It's been so cool and wet. Yeah, it's overripe, but it's actually not brutal, as if it was, 30 degrees and it was completely burnt up. So we might actually have something here. You might want to watch the rest of this one. Well, holy guys, check this out. What a summer this has been. We are completely saturated with water here. I'm trying not to hit a fence, so sorry, I gotta be looking at you and looking at the fence. But other than that, we have not had a single haying window yet in 2025 in our area. There's a few scattered rainfall amounts for this area, some as high as 9¼ inches in the month of July. So as much as I was complaining in the last video that we had to reseed a crop 2 oats and peas, they're off to a really good start. They're loving that moisture, but I guess at the compromise of that crop loving the cool, wet temperatures, the hay is more than ready to cut. But smiles all around, our beautiful hay crops being cut. Yes, it's a little bit overripe, but the quantity of regrowth and leaf matter that's coming up underneath the Timothy that's overripe is still going to make this pretty decent feed. Obviously not 10 out of 10, but this is our first opportunity to drive in the field since July 1st. We're doing what Mother Nature will allow us to do, and it's time. So we're going to give her, and we're giving her pretty good here. Cutting's going really good, but as much as we're excited to cut the first field, there is actually something way more exciting going on. And I hinted to you that in a video back from our trip to Ag in Motion in Saskatoon. Couldn't help but stop and chat with our friends here at Redicop. We've got a big project brewing with Redicop. We are R&D testing one of our own custom design parts for the 4220 Fast Track. See that little black top hat coming out the top of the hood here? That is essentially a centrifuge pre-cleaner on the air intake. So one of our only complaints with the Fast Track was in really dry conditions when we had a lot of chaff, like the overripe grass that's in this field right now, producing a lot of chaff. It could, depending on which way the wind is going, could start to fill up your air filter faster than you would like. Because the snorkel for the air intake of a Fast Track is at the very front of the hood there. So 99% of the time that isn't an issue, but sometimes it is. So as I film in a new angle here that I've never done before in the cab, that black, I'm going to call it a top hat that's coming out the top of the hood, is something that we're R&D'ing. It's made by a company called Redicop. We introduced you to their booth at the Ag in Motion display in Saskatoon this year, and just a couple of videos ago. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch that. But anyway, as the air gets inducted into the motor, it first has to go through essentially a centrifuge, which separates the solid matter and the chaff, the dust, from the air. From a spinning rotation, there's a turbine in there that is propelled by the induction of air from the motor. So as the engine's asking for air, the air is being sucked into the snorkel, which we had to redesign. Let me tell you how. The snorkel on a 4220 was above the radiator. Well, that's also where, with a triple mower set of cutters like what we're running here, Easy Cut B870s, and they produce chaff right in front of the grill. What we've done, we had a company come in and 3D modeled the engine bay. So they took a 3D scan of the whole engine bay underneath the hood. We measured clearances and said, okay, we need to go from point A, which is the air filter housing, and we are gonna come out the top hole in the hood. Yes, we could have cut panels and probably made it more discreet, but for sake of verifying that we can do this better than the stock system, we just said, let's just come up and out of the grill that's in the front of the hood area. So we just popped out this grill that already existed. And I had a friend of ours who's an industrial designer. He said, okay, this is what the connection type looks like at the airbox. And he 3D modeled a snorkel that went towards the front of the hood, about 3/4 the way up the hood, and then straight up. So it comes out the top of the hood where there is no chaff. So essentially, we could not even have the pre-cleaner coming out the top of the hood. We could probably just have a big snorkel, a big tube come out of there. But if we can do better, we will, right? So let's make sure that the air is not only the cleanest going into the motor, but also the coldest. So again, remember I said the snorkel, the stock snorkel, was absorbing and sucking air from above the radiators. Well, those radiators are probably running at 210 degrees. And well, not that that's a problem with any other implement, but when you got chaff and things in the way that are restricting flow, that air starts to get hot. So we want our air intake as cold as possible. So in a nutshell, we put a cold air intake on our fast tracks. Let's show you guys what we're working with here. Holy smokes, is it warm? Thermometer says 29, but that feels really warm to us because it's been a cold summer so far. But check this out. The top hat is working great. All the chaff actually gets removed when the reverser fan kicks in now because there isn't that extra suction coming from up top. So everything's working really good. Is it everything that we need it to be? Do we need to redesign it? I don't know, but we're throwing it through its paces. But look at this hay crop, guys. It's pretty thick. Our spring and summer started out really dry and really hot. And then starting about the 3rd week of June, it got really cold and really wet. So the hay had already determined its yields, much like all the other crops. Most crops are determining their yield for us in our area in early to mid-June, believe it or not. And the yields are determined based on the moisture that the roots have at the time. And then it decides how many seeds and how big the pods and how many leaves it needs, well, for photosynthesis to happen and fill those pods and create seeds, whether it's grass or cereal. But yeah, check this out. The brome grass and the timothy is probably getting close to 4 foot tall. Yes, it is overripe. The alfalfa is getting close to full bloom. However, the undergrowth, the quantity of leaf matter underneath this crop, because it's been so cool and wet, it's not going to throw up another head, but the thickness of the crop has filled out crazily. Or crazily, is that even a word? But anyway, check that out. The orchard grass and brome grass is taller than the top step there on the fast track. So here's a better image. It's to the top side of the yellow rim on the fast track. So I am getting eaten alive by mosquitoes here. Filming this little segment for you. But anyway, just a quick walk around. Some really good swaths here. Probably not quite as good as last year, but these are some pretty big swaths for us in this area. This will be pretty good hay considering that it is overripe. The quality is gonna be actually better than I would have thought. So I gotta get, holy cow. There was 4 of them little blood suckers on my arm there. I gotta get back in the tractor. Man, I wish I would have kept filming there. You guys should have seen this. I took off my hat and I'm smacking mosquitoes all over the cab of this tractor. They are out in full force. My poor farming ain't easy hat. Jeez. That was intense. That was a lot of mosquitoes. Anyway, keep cutting. guys. Fun day of cutting, but I am super curious how that little guy up there did today. Like I say, cleaner air, cooler air, all good things. Let's see, after a day of cutting overripe hay, which was pretty dusty, let's see how clean our airbox is. I broke the latch off my radiator folding mechanism. Oops. That's a good sign. Usually pulling off just the cap to the airbox is full of chaff. And there it is. This was a brand new air filter before I went cutting the hay. And there's a little piece of grass right here. That's it. Oh, maybe a couple little pieces of fluff from a dandelion, but very, very clean. Obviously nothing went through it. Let's tap this thing. Yeah, a little bit of dust on the corner there. I just realized I can't show you guys how dirty that truly was just by bumping it up on the grill of the tractor. Can't do that to you. Let's show you the real deal. Let's put some air into this thing. Let's blow it from the clean side back to the dirty side. I know this might anger some people, but let's check this out. Anyways, did the camera pick that up? I hope it did. You might have saw a little bit of dust come out, but I'd say this filter's like 95% clean. So anyways, super excited. Thanks guys for watching. If you're as excited for clean air filters and more hand videos, you're gonna have to come back next week. We got a cool video planned that's being filmed tomorrow. So thanks guys for watching.